Welcome to the future of personalized healthcare with wellness screening. This non-invasive digital health assessment provides 30 clinically evaluated wellness markers in just 7 minutes. Tailor your treatments, diet plans, physical activity guidance, and more based on precise health data. Identify degeneration indicators and create regeneration programs to slow aging and boost vitality. Enhance your services and client outcomes with science-backed, individualized care. Let's step into the future of healthcare with wellness screening and go through the markers, score, and index in the overview. This is the first image that appears after the assessment. It provides an overview of all the markers analyzed during the screening. On the left side, you see a wellness index where the best possible result is 100%. This person has a wellness index of 75% based on the results of all the markers. This result is colored yellow, with a color code ranging from dark green to light green to yellow to orange, and finally red, indicating a severe deviation. Below the wellness index, you see 3 different scores. The first one is the lifestyle score, showing 28% out of 40%. The autonomic score is 29% out of 30%, and the cardiovascular score, marked in orange, shows the highest deviation at 18% out of 30%. This is the first part you can evaluate before diving deeper into the individual markers. Now let's move into the markers in the lifestyle score. The first 3 markers in the overview can guide clients through their physical activity regime. Cardiovascular fitness is measured by the total power in the heart rate variability, HRV domain, using frequency analysis of the autonomic nervous system. Next, performance capacity is evaluated from SDANN, which assesses VO2, the body's ability to consume oxygen and perform for longer durations. Understanding a client's recovery capacity after exercise is crucial for developing an effective physical activity plan. Efficient recovery mechanisms help quickly return to baseline after exercise, which is essential for overall fitness and health. For athletes, these markers can evaluate overtraining risks. The next biomarker is oxygen saturation, which describes how well the hemoglobin in the blood is saturated with oxygen. This marker helps us understand the body's oxygen-carrying capacity. Another important marker is microcirculation, which provides a deeper understanding of how well oxygen is being delivered to your tissues. However, microcirculation is part of the autonomic score and will be discussed later. Now we move into body composition, which includes measurements of muscle mass, bone mass, and fat mass as percentages, as well as BMI body mass index. These markers are essential for tracking progress in a weight reduction plan. By combining body composition data with other biomarkers, such as low-grade inflammation and insulin resistance, we can get a more comprehensive view of health improvements. Typically, these markers show positive changes as a person loses fat mass. Tracking several markers helps understanding the broader health impacts of body composition changes. In this section, we focus on pH regulation, which doesn't measure the pH value directly, but rather the body's ability to regulate pH. We assess positive free ions and negative free ions for this purpose. Sodium makes up 96% of the interstitial positive free ions, while chloride and bicarbonate together represent 96% of the negative free ions in the interstitial fluid. This balance is crucial for maintaining the body's overall acid-base homeostasis. Understanding the balance between the sympathetic and parasympathetic systems and evaluating stress is a crucial part of a wellness analysis. Mental stress indicates whether the sympathetic system is dominant over the parasympathetic system. If the sympathetic system is not dominant, it means they are cooperating in a good balance. The next marker is recovery capacity, which shows if the parasympathetic activity is within the normal reference range. If it's not, the parasympathetic system is below the reference area. This can occur with or without dominance of the sympathetic system. By examining the activity graphs accessible by clicking on lifestyle scoring graphs, you can also determine if the sympathetic activity is within the reference range. The sympathetic system can be dominant over the parasympathetic even when its activity is low. Evaluating different combinations of activity can help identify various forms of stress. In this picture, you see a high sympathetic activity, LF, without suppressing the parasympathetic HF. In this picture, you see high sympathetic activity that suppresses the parasympathetic. In this picture, you see low sympathetic activity that still dominates over the parasympathetic, both showing low activity. From a treatment perspective, this information helps you decide on appropriate interventions. For instance, if there is low parasympathetic activity, you might focus on vagus nerve stimulation and techniques to enhance parasympathetic recovery, such as relaxing massages. If there is low sympathetic activity, you might recommend energy-boosting treatments like energizing massages and address adrenal fatigue. Serotonin and dopamine are two markers measured using galvanic skin response and are expressed in millivolts. For serotonin, reference areas were established by measuring millivolts during depression and after depression medication. For dopamine, millivolt levels were analyzed in individuals with diagnosed ADHD compared to those without ADHD. Neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine can be influenced by stress, lifestyle, and other factors. In this picture, you can see the levels before and after exercise, showing an improvement in serotonin. Physical activity is a known serotonin enhancer, but it's important to note that overtraining can have the opposite effect, leading to low serotonin levels and potential depression. As we move into the markers connected to the autonomic nervous system, a NS score, your client will undergo a breathing challenge and a standing up challenge to evaluate how the ANS cooperates during these situations. The first two markers assess the sympathetic nervous system's ability to increase blood pressure when your client stands up, as standing up naturally causes a drop in blood pressure. The first marker evaluates the function of baroreceptors, the sensors that detect changes in blood pressure. The second marker assesses whether the sympathetic nervous system, together with noradrenaline, successfully increases blood pressure in response. The next set of two biomarkers refers to the parasympathetic part of the nervous system. We want to see how the parasympathetic system manages heart rate during breathing. When inhaling, the heart rate should go up, and when exhaling, it should go down. The following marker indicates the parasympathetic system's ability to return the increased blood pressure, elevated by the sympathetic system, back to baseline. By evaluating the ANS both when the person is sitting down and under stress, you can better understand the cooperation between the sympathetic and parasympathetic systems. This balance is crucial for providing comprehensive health guidance to your clients. GSR stands for galvanic skin response, and we use plates and electrodes to measure these markers. The first two markers, microcirculation and oxidative stress, are assessed using a technique called the pseudomotor test, which involves placing the feet onto plates. The pseudomotor test sends a signal to the sweat glands and to the sweat glands' blood vessels, and C fibers are attached. We analyze the activity of both in millivolts. C fiber degeneration, which involves small nerve fibers, can be affected by oxidative stress. Both of these biomarkers can also be influenced by high blood sugar levels. Therefore, when interpreting the results, you can also evaluate insulin resistance. The next marker is thyroid function, specifically evaluating for hypothyroidism. The results are expressed in millivolts, with reference areas established based on measurements taken before and after medication for hypothyroidism. Thyroid function can vary throughout the day, so this marker should be seen as an indication. It's preferable to take multiple measurements to determine if the difference is consistent. The following biomarker is digestive inflammation. The reference area for this marker is between 512 millivolt and 768 millivolt. Values below 512 MV indicate low activity, which suggests a chronic inflammation. Values above 768 MV indicate a mild inflammation with higher activity. In the autonomic score area, you can click on comments to get more information on potential underlying issues, such as gluten or dairy sensitivity, unbalanced bacterial flora, peristaltic disorders, and more. These are only indicators and should be interpreted with caution. The last section is the cardiovascular score, beginning with measurements of systolic and diastolic blood pressure while sitting down. This score also includes stroke volume, which is the amount of blood the heart pumps out per beat, and cardiac output, which is the amount of blood pumped out per minute. These biomarkers provide insight into the hemodynamics of the cardiovascular system, reflecting the heart's strength and efficiency. They help us understand the body's ability to maintain adequate blood flow per minute. This evaluation of blood pressure, stroke volume, and cardiac output offers a clear picture of cardiovascular health and the heart's capacity to respond to physiological demands. Now, it is time to analyze endothelial regulation. The inner lining of the blood vessels is made up of endothelial cells, which play a crucial role in vascular health. Today, we understand more about the importance of the endothelium and how it can significantly improve our health through the production of nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is vital for maintaining vascular tone, reducing inflammation, preventing blood clotting, and more. Many doctors refer to endothelial dysfunction as the first step towards several chronic degenerative diseases. When the endothelium is not functioning properly, it can lead to issues such as atherosclerosis, hypertension, and other cardiovascular diseases. Healthy endothelial function is essential for overall cardiovascular health and can prevent the onset of many chronic conditions. Therefore, monitoring and improving endothelial health is a key component in maintaining overall wellness and preventing disease. Below the endothelial function, you will find several markers that can negatively impact endothelial cells if they deviate from the norm. Conversely, endothelial dysfunction can also lead to inflammation and a suppressed immune system, as endothelial cells play roles in both processes. Let's start with inflammation. This marker is compared to CRP, C-reactive protein, and indicates low-grade systemic inflammation in the blood vessels. Next is the immune response, which is compared to the CD4+ and CD8+ cells in ratio. In simple terms, CD4+ cells are signaling cells that alert CD8+ cells, which are eliminator cells when they detect an intruder. Now we come to the lipid profile, which is compared to total cholesterol and triglycerides levels, providing insight into the body's fat metabolism and could be potential risk for cardiovascular diseases. Vascular tone measures the stiffness of the blood vessels, indicating how flexible or rigid they are. Insulin resistance is compared to the hyperinsulinemic euglycemic clamp, HEC, the gold standard for assessing insulin sensitivity. This comparison provides early warning signs of metabolic issues and the first steps towards type 2 diabetes. Finally, coagulation is compared to fibrinogen levels. In cases of deviation, fibrinogen can be too high, indicating an increased risk of blood clots. These markers collectively provide a comprehensive view of factors that can affect endothelial health and, in turn, overall health. Now we have been through all the markers in the system, and in the next video, I will take you on a journey through the software. Thank you for following me to the end of this video, which provides an overview of the markers. For more details on how to connect with us and access our webpage, please see the information below this video. Working in wellness is incredibly rewarding, and I appreciate your dedication to helping people create better health with all your knowledge. Thank you.